NFL Today on CBS. He's also a former NFL MVP. He's played in a Super Bowl. He's played in the link as an opponent in a postseason game. And
he's from Exton.
Absolutely. The local guy. Matt Ryan joins us on the Comcast Business Hotline. Matt, appreciate the time, man. It's playoff season. We got to bring in the big guns.
Yeah, I love the intro. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, could we rattle off anything else about your resume?
Yeah, St. Philip and James starter for the CYO team in 7th and 8th grade. There we go.
I had gotten word of some of your performances then, and much like in Atlanta, I ripped you after a couple of them, but I think that made you tougher. I think it's
That's
good.
Right. It's good. It's good for you. It builds character.
I got to tell you, Matt, I didn't see where you've ended up being on a really prominent set, one of the most prominent voices now covering the NFL. When I watched you from the day you arrived in Atlanta, and we were 12 seasons where, interacting, I didn't see you ending up in this career. I thought you were going to be a guy who ended up with like a team or a front office.
Well, it's a different level of work
Yes.
and intensity and stress, and I've got young kids, right? And so at that time, whatever it is, 17 years ago when I got to Atlanta, John.
Sure.
I had no kids. I had no, responsibilities outside of football, any of those things. And it's amazing how your perspective changes, as you get older and you want to spend a little bit more time with family. The commitment that coaches, that front office guys make, I felt like I gave everything I had playing. And so for now, for the time that I'm in with my kids being young, I like coaching. I like being involved in their stuff. And being with the NFL Today provides me some of that flexibility. So it's worked out really good.
Now, Matt, what's your gauge on this game between the Eagles and the Packers? Are the Eagles as big of favorites as it would seem logically based on how great they've been this season?
I think so. I look at the way Green Bay has played the last month. I think there leaves a lot to be desired. You look at, I'm sure everybody's up there talking about Jalen Hurts at practice. So you look on the opposite side. I think the bigger concern at the quarterback position is Jordan Love coming into this, right? And the health of that elbow and, his ability to throw the football. So I expect this to be a ground and pound game on both sides. I really do. I think Green Bay is going to try and take the air out of the ball a little bit and run the football. Not easy to do against that Eagles defense. I think the leg up is the defense in the front seven of the Eagles. And if they're going to dominate the way I think everybody thinks they're going to, they've got to play well up front.
Matt, talk to us a little bit about coming into Lincoln Financial Field. And you knew it in a season-opening game after the Eagles had, hung their Super Bowl banner. But more importantly, that playoff game in their Super Bowl season. How tough is it? Do we talk too much about the difference that fans make in this stadium?
It's hard, man. And those two games, they were back-to-back games for us with the Falcons, right? We finished our playoffs up there. We lost in that game in the link and then opened the season up the following year. And oddly enough, both those games shook out like the exact same way, coming down to the end, and we fell a little bit short. But it's a hard place to play. And I think energy, intensity, you feel that as a player. I think sometimes it's a little bit overdone because I think it feeds you as an individual too. If you're the road team, you love playing in those type of atmosphere. But it's hard. I mean, and I think the most difficult thing becomes when momentum shifts, right? And then you can feel the entire energy of the stadium, and that's where I feel like home field advantage is so massive, particularly there. And then the stuff you hear. I mean. I heard some ridiculous things warming up or on the sideline, and I think it's hard on your families that are in the stands too, because the Eagles fans are passionate and intense.
Where did your family? Seriously, I know I've asked this before. Where did your family lie that Saturday? That Saturday afternoon at 4:30. Now they love you and they support you, but there's still a lot of green blood that runs through the Ryans.
My immediate family, there has no green blood left, right?
Okay.
They're in it too thick with you, right? Now, where it gets a little bit more dicey is you kind of get extended away from the immediate family. And then, I think they netted out on that Sunday meet wanting for me to play well.
Right.
But ultimately, not disappointed with either result, I suppose.
That's the way it goes.
Now, Matt, you were a guy like quarterback MVP of the league. You like to sling it around. And the Eagles have gone with a different strategy this year, it seems. Saquon Barkley rushing for over 2,000 yards, and the return of the running back in the NFL has been a big storyline this season. Do you think that you can win a championship in the modern NFL with a run-first offense?
Yeah, absolutely. I look back at even the year we went to the Super Bowl. I mean, we put up huge numbers, throwing the football, but a lot of that happened because of what we could do running the football. We were a good running team that year. So I do believe, you can be a run-first team and win a Super Bowl. It's been a minute since we've had a guy that, had the rushing title and won a Super Bowl in the same year. I think Terrell Davis was the last guy to do it, and Saquon's looking to do that. But I think it's possible. And I think more importantly, it's how they play defense and how they play defense the second half of the season. I think the combination of being able to run the football really well, impose your will on the offensive side of the ball, but play defense the way that they have, I think those two go hand in hand.
You know the mind of Matt LaFleur when he was your quarterback coach back in that NFC Championship season in Atlanta when he was just a young guy. What do you think he sees when he sees the Eagles' defense?
Yeah, I think he sees he's got his work cut out for him.
Exactly.
And that's to me, you got to win up front. And when I look at the Eagles' defense, it's about containing the guys up front. They're going to try and run the football. If I know Matt, I think they're going to try and run the football, especially given, what Jordan is going through right now. You've got to get combination blocks to the second level. Bond's been a problem. An absolute problem on the defensive side of the ball. But I think that's partly because the guys up front, are leaving him the ability to scrape, to tackle, to make plays. And I just think they've got to win up front, and it's going to be a tough task. And I think that's exactly what he's telling, his offense right now. If we're going to win this football game, we're going to win it because our offensive line is going to play awesome, and everything else is going to come off of that. And I think that's a tall task. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. I kind of like the Eagles in this game, but, if they're going to do it, I think that's the way they have to do it.
We're talking to Matt Ryan on the Comcast Business Hotline now. Matt, put yourself in Jalen Hurts' shoes real quick because there's a worry about rust, having not played a couple games in a row, not going to practice until yesterday. If you were stepping into that position and you heard people say, well, what if Matt Ryan's rusty? He's missed this many weeks. What would your response be?
Wait and see. I think that's kind of how I would view it. I think I played very differently than Jalen does, and I think rust is more prevalent when you're a timing player, when you're a rhythm type player. I think Jalen is very good at kind of holding on to the football, extending plays. Now, whether he'll do that with kind of the head concussion coming out of the protocol, all of those kind of things, we'll see how they game plan it. But this isn't a knock on Jalen. I just don't view him as kind of a rhythm timing passer, right? He throws a lot of isolation routes on the outside. I think they do that very well. He's got guys that are big and physical in A.J. Brown, and then speed in Devontae Smith, and so I just don't think I don't view it as affecting him as much as maybe a Tua or someone in that light.
If the Eagles win a championship and we have a parade down Broad Street, is it going to be, do you believe, because of their offense more or their defense more?
I feel like their defense is going to show up. So I think in order for them to win a championship, I think it's about what their offense does, right? Are they able to run the football the way that they have? Is their passing game going to be there when they need it, right? No matter if you're a run-first team or not, there's going to be opportunities where you have to throw the ball to win games. And ultimately, I think if they're going to have that parade, I think that it's because of the offense playing at a level that they need to play at to win.
Okay,
I just feel like the defense is going to show up.
I think it's cool, though, that your jersey hangs in quite a few places that I frequent in the Westchester area. Like it's hanging in a P.J. Wellahan's. It's hanging here and there. So we still love you here. We just don't, sometimes we don't like you, back in the day you're playing. Now we can love you once again.
It's all good now, right? Like,
yeah, right then.
To that field now.
Yeah,
so it's okay.
And
listen, I felt both the love and the hate, and so it's all good.
By the way, so I know you've been. I watched you in your career, and I would question you sometimes. Come on, aren't you really rooting for the Phillies? Have you totally gone Braves? Have you totally gone like Atlanta now?
It's sad to say I have, and I think that,
and that's our time for today. No,
yeah, that's right. That's right. I think the full shift happened when my boys were born,
right,
and have gotten older, and now they're fans, and so like I'm all the way in.
They're Freddie Freeman fans, those boys.
I know, and they still like him with the Dodgers, which is crazy to me. The craziest thing for me, right, and I'll leave you guys with this, but I hated the Braves growing up. Like, they ruined my childhood.
Yes.
And then I got to meet all these guys that ruined my childhood, and I ended up really liking them. And I was like, this is crazy, like Smoltz or Glavine or Chipper, all those guys. And so, you end up rooting for people once you get to know them.
Matt, great stuff, and greatly appreciate you making time for us this morning, buddy. Good to talk to you again.
You got it, man. Appreciate you guys.
There you go.
Thank you. Matt Ryan on the Comcast Business Hotline there. Every day in business is a big day. Comcast Business get you ready.
Thank you so much for checking out our content on the 97.5 The Fanatic YouTube channel. Hope you enjoyed the video. And remember, you can always be checking the playlist. There may be something you missed from one of our shows during the day that you want to go back and check out. So every time you like a video, like it, subscribe to the channel, and you'll have that great content coming to you every single day. You're greatly appreciated.